this tell you exactly why Manchester United look and are seeking to sign Mbuemo. Manchester United's solution in this case will not come in the form of £100 million signing. No. All Brentford want for this gentleman is 60 million and just a few coins on top of that. Is that too much to ask from Manchester United? Manchester United have come from a position where they spent 60 odd million on the likes of, Højlund. What has his goal return be? We'll get into that. Now, what if I told you the next game changer for Manchester United with respect to unlocking Amorim's tactics is this gentleman here, Bryan Mbuemo? Why, you may ask? A lot of things make this Cameroonian right for the place to play in that sport. First of all, let's take a look at some data. Let's look at his goal scoring chart and his goal scoring data for last season. So you see Mohamed Salah, you see Alexander Isak, Erling Haaland, Chris Wood, and Bryan Mbuemo. But this is interchangeable because he scored 20 goals just last season. For someone who in his previous 5 seasons in the EPL had scored only 9 Premier League goals to escalate exponentially to the figure where he's scoring 20 goals in just a single season, that is something which is known as evolution more than improvement. His game has improved more than it normally should have. Why do I say so? So the year was 2024 August, and Ivan Toney departed the team Brentford. Brentford did not go right into the market seeking for another striker to fill that particular spot. They looked within and brought in a solution. Solution in the form of the man Bryan Mbuemo. Yes, Bryan Mbuemo was that man who was charged now to step out from the shadows and become the main man for the team and get them the goals. And did he say? Yes, he just said, hold my jersey for me because there's a lot to my game that I've got to improve. Now, let's get into some tactical analysis about how he enjoys playing the game. This is Bryan Mbuemo, whose favorite foot is sometimes deceptive, I should say. He favors his left foot, but loves to play off the right attacking channel. He can play in any of the 3 rows up front, especially you playing in a 4-3-3 situation. He can play on the right side. You can deploy him as the central figure, and you can deploy him as the left-sided attacker as well. In other formations, he can also pair up top and be the second striker, as we have seen in previous seasons. For instance, like this, when Ivan Toney was still with the team Brentford. In this particular sequence, you could actually see that Brentford had set up under Thomas Frank in a 4-2-2. Did I say 4-2-2? Yes, 4-4-2 situation where they've got 4 defenders, 4 midfielders, and 2 attackers in that particular line of work. He was the second attacker and normally liked to play off the shoulder of Ivan Toney. Ivan Toney was the dominant factor in that period of time, and he constantly drew the attention of opposing defenders, hence allowing the man Mbuemo to continue running into channels significantly and then occasionally finishing off chances when Ivan Toney was in play. However, after Ivan Toney came an explosive version of the man Bryan Mbuemo, where he started shaping and shifting onto his favored left foot and curling balls, which goalkeepers did not like. Why do I say goalkeepers did not like this? It's because they became so cautious of where he was going to play the ball. They didn't know if he was going to go to the far post or he was going to bend it to the near post. Aside that, there's one thing that Mbuemo also added to his game: reading and adding up assist numbers to his game. And in this sequence, you see Mbuemo comes in here, but is aided by the man Wissa, who literally draws away 3 defenders, allowing him room and space to try and angle the ball. He, however, chose the assist. That is what Manchester United need. Now, let's go back to this chart, and here, Bryan Mbuemo scored 20 goals last season. More than Rashford. More than Oli Watkins, who is also on this chart that Manchester United are looking to get for a centre forward. Bryan Mbuemo makes much more sense when it comes to Manchester United's problem that's scoring goals, in this case, more than the man Oli Watkins. So they actually should look at getting Bryan Mbuemo. Let's move it right along and talk about some of his other features, especially when he shifts onto the left foot inside the box. He's extremely dangerous, providing situations where defenders are always caught napping. Why? For a defender defending such a position, your job is to make sure you put Mbuemo on the side of the pitch to constantly only reduce him to doing one thing, either smashing the ball against your leg and getting a corner kick, or eventually walking the ball out of the corner or out of play. However, Mbuemo has this particular thing to his game. When he shifts the ball onto his left foot, then you, the defender, are found wanting. You definitely found wanting. And he has access to the goalpost. Why? Because look at the sequence here where Henderson has to capture the first ball. That's the job of the goalkeeper. Capture the first ball. However, Mbuemo dances this way and has this whole portion to aim for. Tell me that's not what Manchester United is missing in their game. Aside attacking numbers, there are lots of things to Mbuemo's game as well. In this phase, without the ball, look at what Mbuemo is doing. He's placing himself in a situation where he can actually press with triggers. Manchester United are looking for players who are workaholics, who can press and press and press. Mbuemo, when he came into the league in some 5 years ago from the French team Troyes, he came through for a mere fee of below £6 million. He was a winger back then. No one thought of him as a special player. Everyone thought of him as just an academy graduate of Troyes. However, getting into this particular team under Thomas Frank, he has proven that he is able to add more to his game. Such is what he has added with regards to pressing, where he's able to read certain triggers and apply presses to it, making it difficult for the opposing defender to play out from the back. That is what Amorim wants. So he gives you goals, he gives you assists, he gives you the press that you want. Manchester United forward, that is what they need. Now, let's move it on and see another thing that he does so well. Sometimes he starts here and he might eventually even end up in the scoring position. I'll bring you a sequence that way. However, in such close proximity, he is able always to pick the eye of the needle pass and get strikers to convert. In this particular game, against the team that is looking to sign him specifically at the GTEC Stadium, Mbuemo was able to provide this assist for the man. Yes, Kevin Shade, and he was on that day scintillating. He was fantastic on the day. He was really in his elements, all thanks to the likes of Mbuemo, who were acting as supporting cast that day. Like I keep saying, the team Manchester United need goals in their team, and they need goals in their game. If you're going to pay 60 million for someone who would be able to get you some 20 goals, is that a good figure? Yeah, that's a good figure. How much will they be paying him? He will be quadrupling his current wages at Brentford should he join Manchester United. Manchester United, they can pay. This is a player who has scored more goals than another player they are looking at. Oli Watkins, for all his troubles last season as a centre forward, scored 19 goals, one less than the man Bryan Mbuemo, who was not an out-and-out striker, but can play in that role. The best position for him in this Manchester United team might be that right inside channel position. However, I have other ideas. Why? Because should Manchester United play Mbuemo in that right channel, play Matheus Cunha in the left channel, and play someone like a Zexi up top, what happens to their captain Fantastic, who has been stupendous for the team Manchester United for a couple of seasons now? You can dial it back up to 5 seasons. The man, Bruno Fernandes, has been the best player at Manchester United. And how are you able to get the best out of Bruno Fernandes? Is keeping him high up the pitch so that he's able to effect play and affect play from that position. However, drawing him back would be negative to the team Manchester United. So Manchester United can get Mbuemo if they plan on playing Mbuemo in that central forward position. They can also occasionally play him on the right side of attack or inside that particular position where it's the right inside channel position. No problem. However, this signing could be detrimental to the man Bruno Fernandes, especially should Bruno be dropped back into, midfield where he would have to play in a two-man midfield. Then they need a superior number 6. Manchester United, are they in the mood to splurge out the cash for a man like Carlos Baleba? I don't think so in this market because of this whole financial situation. I don't think Manchester United will be able to spend that amount of money. Maybe they could look out some loan situations. However, that would not solve that particular problem. They need double pivots. Manchester United needs double pivots for this system to work. But pushing the man Bruno Fernandes into that double pivot situation we have seen in the past season would not work. But they need Bryan Mbuemo because of goals, because of the press, and also because of the assist. That is why Manchester United needed him, because he's dynamic. He can play up front. He can play in all 3 positions. He can provide them the needed goals because he has done it at a much more difficult team. That is a Brentford. He did it there last season when he was asked to step up in the lights. Coming through from Torah, this is a guy who has always wanted the opportunity to shine. Getting it at Manchester United, the Cameroonian, I think, is ready and raring to go. Manchester United need to spend the cash. Go out and get their man Mbuemo. Get this business done with, and let's move on. So Mbuemo to Manchester United, I fully approve.